Okay, so today we're going to cover a whole bunch of things, but great news. A bit like, unlike yesterday, these things are all pretty simple, but they are all also really useful. We're going to start with basic conditional formatting. Now, the reason I'm doing this, the reason I'm only doing basic is because tomorrow I'm going to do conditional formatting properly. But today I'm just going to do it as a kind of taster because it leads into something else that I need to go through. So we're in Excel here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a really simple spreadsheet. So I'm going to have area 1. Actually, I'm going to make it bigger. So the quick way to zoom in is hold down the Control key and then use the wheel on the mouse to zoom in. Then I can see it with my old man eyes without having to use glasses. So I'm going to zoom, I'm going to autofill that down to area 3. And then I'm going to put some month names in the top. So I'm going to have January to April. And as always, to autofill, I'm going to hover over the little blob in the bottom right-hand corner, drag to the right, so it continues that series of data. And I'm just going to put some random numbers in here. So I'm just going to select those cells, because this is the way I roll. Put my mouse to one side, and then type some numbers in. This is the least entertaining part of the demonstration. Nearly done. Oh, on a big number. Right, there we go. So finally I'm going to put a total in the bottom. And of course I can use AutoSum for this, or I could just type in the sum function. But I'm feeling lazy, so I'm going to go with the AutoSum. Clicked on the little Greek letter sigma, and it's guessed the sum. In this case, it was correct. I'm going to hit return. The sum function returns a total. And if I autofill that across, I've got myself a nice little basic, simple spreadsheet, which I'm now going to make mildly pretty by selecting that and selecting that, and making those bold, and aligning these cheeky chappies to the right. Just need to put a line in, can't live without a line above that. That's better. Right, good. Okay, so here's my basic spreadsheet. Like I said, what I'm going to do is some really simple conditional formatting, which we will cover in depth tomorrow. But the purpose of conditional formatting is that in the event that a condition is met, in other words, something happens, then it applies a certain format. So, for example, if you're trawling through somebody's expenses and you've got hundreds of entries of expenses, and you don't want to sort it, you don't want to change anything, but you just want your attention drawn to any claims that are over £500, you can just click on the column heading, use conditional formatting, and say any of these values greater than £500, make it bright red. And then suddenly, you don't suffer from the snow blindness, you can then just see all the ones that are over £500. If you're looking for figures that are greater than 20% of the figure next to it, you can put a simple formula in conditional formatting and make it highlighted with a big green background. Or you can just make it map trends. You can do all kinds of interesting, exciting things with icons and stuff. You can make one cell change color if another cell equals a certain value. So you can have seconds of fun with it. However, we should do that tomorrow. But all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take this total line here, and I'm going to put a couple of simple formats on. I'm going to put one on that says if it's below 1,000, make it red, because that's a rubbish total. And I'm going to say if it's over 1,500, make it green, because that's some fabulous sales figures. So, conditional formatting. If I click on the drop down, there's a whole section here, and I will go through it all tomorrow. But I'm just going to use the top one first of all, which is really easy. I'm going to start by saying greater than, because that's the one that's at the very top. And so all the ones I've selected, it's automatically come up with its own rule, which is nothing like what I want. So I'm just going to overwrite it. I'm going to say 1,500 as the figure. So if it's greater than 1,500, then apply this format. If I click on the drop down, there's a bunch of formats to choose from. None of them are what I want. I just want green text with no messing about with the background, just green text, bold as well, let's be daring, if it's over 1,500. So to make it appear the way I want, I need to click on Custom Format. And now I've got the regular, well, I say the regular, the old style dialog box for formatting cells. And I'm going to select bold, and then where it says automatic here, I'm going to choose the colour of my choice. I'm going to go for that green. I think just a regular green. I can go more colours here, and in Excel, you're currently limited to 16.8 million different colours. But I think green will do. So let's OK that and OK that, and it looks like it has no effect. That's because none of them are over 1500. However, let's do the one for when they're below something. So conditional formatting, highlight rules, and less than. If I click on less than, here I'm going to say 1000, and if it's less than, let's make it red. Again, oh yeah, not again at all. There is one there that matches my criteria, red text. That'll do. If I say OK to that, and click away from it, we can see just about, it's not a very nice red, but anyway, it's red, just like yesterday's newspaper. Now, I can change some of those figures. Let's change that there to a whopping 500, and then we get the woo green stuff going on. So that is really basic conditional formatting. Oops, that's the wrong key. Yeah, let's put that back. Really basic conditional formatting, really useful, not very exciting, but it does do a job. One of the most important things to learn about conditional formatting is if I click on the menu, go down to the bottom, you can select clear rules and you can get rid of them from the entire sheet. So if some cheeky chappie's accessed your spreadsheet and now every time you type 100 in a box, it goes bright pink, that's where you would get rid of that rule. Alternatively, you can go to manage rules and it will show you the rules for the particular cell that you've got selected. So if I click on this, it will show me nothing because I've got nothing in that cell. However, if I click on these cells, or if I'm wondering why this one keeps going green, I can click on that, go to manage rules, and there's the rule. Well, there's two rules on it, so I can see what they are and tinker with them. But that's it for conditional formatting today. What I'm going to do now is show you how I can take this table, very basic table as it is, and put it in Word. Now, if I select the area that I want to paste, I'm going to include the outside just because that's the kind of person I am, and I can just copy it. I'm going to use Control-C, or I could do right mouse click and copy. And then I'm going to go to Word, and this is where it gets interesting because it should be really easy, but I don't know what will happen on the screen. So I'm going to click on the Share button, Share Content, and then if I unshare Excel, stop sharing, and then, oh gosh, that wasn't what I expected to happen. And then say Share Word, Share. Now see a Word screen. Yeah, everyone nods and that just, yeah. Right, and then I'm just gonna do this. Right, okay. So now I've got it in my clipboard, and if I want to just paste it into Word, I can just do the usual paste. Right mouse click and paste, or Control V, and it pastes in, and it's all pretty unexciting. Now, what is exciting is the other paste options that are available. If I right mouse click, there's 3 paste options. There needs to be more. I need to copy it again from Excel. I don't know why it's not. I don't know why it's not giving me all my options. Right, let me copy that again. Go back into Word. That's it. Yeah, it's giving me more options. That's Word for you. Okay, so I can paste it like I just did. Pretty unexciting. I can paste it to use the destination formatting, and what that'll do is it will just use the formatting that I've got within Word. So if I've got a document in Word and it's all boxes and lines and things, and they're all formatted in a certain way, then it will format it in that way, which, as you can see, isn't very interesting. But when the good stuff comes in, it's turned into a table. Yeah, and I need to click below that. Where the good stuff comes in is the next one along, where I can choose paste link. Now, there's a whole bunch of other highly complex paste options, but fortunately, all the useful ones in this instance are on the menu. This one that says paste link, it comes in two flavors. You can either have keep source formatting, or again, you can use the destination formatting, the formatting that's in Word. But when I paste this in, it looks just like the first paste, but the difference is it's formed a link between Excel, the Excel sheet, and my Word document. And I'll come back to the implications of that in just a second, because I want to still paste one more time. The last one is paste, or the last interesting one is paste as a picture. And I'm going to do that, and then that's there. So I've got lots of different versions of exactly the same thing. The least interesting one is this table here, which I'm just going to get rid of because that is the least interesting one. So let's get rid of that space a bit so we can see more stuff. There we go. Right, so this is regular pasting. This is paste link, and this is pasting as a picture. All three of them had their own merits. They all appear to have done exactly the same thing. However, if I just nip back to Excel now, I won't reshare the screen because you have to just believe me on this. And I'm going to change that 500 to 123. When I hit return, and I now go back to Word, and I wonder how that appeared on the video. Anyway, the first one is still exactly the same because that was just a regular pasting. The second one, however, has changed because that was pasted using paste link. And because I told it to paste link and use the formatting from Excel, it's also changed the color of the text because it's picked up the conditional formatting. So, for example, if I now go to Excel and put in amazing figures for all the other months, just put in 999s, yeah, that one as well, what the heck. Now, when I go back to Word, we've now got these whopping great figures in the paste linked item, including the colours that go with it. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So this is basically to answer Dave's question from yesterday about can you do conditional formatting in Word, and the answer is not really. There's lots of workarounds that are all very messy, but the best way to do conditional formatting in Word is to do it in Excel and paste it into Word. And now that Excel document doesn't even need to be open. That can be worked on by somebody else, and they can be punching in all those figures. And then I could just go into my Word document, open it up. It'll tell me that there's external links and ask if I want to refresh them. And then when I say yes, hey presto, my figures are refreshed. And if I've taken the document off site, so if it's on a network and the document's on the server, somebody's working away on their workstation, I can open my Word document at home, do a lot of work on it, and then save it back on the network again. And then next time I open it, say, yes, refresh, and then the figures will update. Because if I can't see the other Excel spreadsheet, if I don't know where it is, all I've got to do is say, no, don't update links, and it'll be fine, and I can update them next time. So that's pasting stuff in from Excel. The final thing is this one.
Can you work on it at the same time, or it's just got to be one person working on it?
You can, well, on the same document in Word, or
yeah, like if somebody was in the Excel and then somebody was in the Word, does it matter? Would it still refresh it? Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Both Word and Excel have their own special ways of working, having lots of people working on them at the same time. And individually, like if you're working on the same Word document as somebody else, or the same Excel document as somebody else, that just doesn't work well. It is possible, but it's not brilliant. However, when you do this kind of thing, if somebody's working on the Excel document and somebody else is working on the Word document, it works really well. Because all that happens is the guy working on the Excel document now, I don't need to have Excel open. So he can have it open exclusively, he can be punching away loads of figures and stuff. And my Word document just sits there going, yep, I've got the latest figures. But the latest figures are from the latest save. So the second he saves his document, I can refresh my Word document and get the latest figures. So all you do is if, for example, you're writing some lengthy report and putting in all the details about directors, figures, blah, 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 and clients, data, blah, blah, blah. You put all the wordy stuff in and you're waiting for somebody else to get the figures in, the sales figures. You just do all the hard work, and then when you're ready to print it, then you press refresh, or you just go out and go back in again. And then it will have the latest save, or you phone up and say, Fred, have you done these figures yet? And you go, yeah, I've done them half hour ago. And then you can just right click on it and say refresh, or update link would be the correct word.
Right, okay.
Like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So
right. Yeah.
that's the linking. Easy, huh? Yeah. The final thing, the final bit of pasting I did down there, because I couldn't be bothered to copy it again, is pasting it as an image. When you paste an image, you can't link it in any way because it's an image. It's not editable. Well, it's not. The figures can't be edited. You can't really do anything with it. But sometimes, if you just want to get some bland figures into a report, or particularly if you're doing this with PowerPoint, which works in exactly the same way, and you're trying to get some bland figures into a presentation, sometimes pasting it as a picture gives you the edge because you can do stuff to pictures. So, for example, if I click on this picture now, on the ribbon at the top, I've got a new tab. I've got a Format tab. And the Format tab gives me a whole bunch of options of things I can do to pictures. I'm not going to waffle on about all of these. I'm just going to show you the quick ones because some of them here are quite quirky and interesting. And so here, in picture styles, I can click on the drop down and I can look at it and think, well, what will make my figures interesting? And it's things like that. You think like, well, that kind of makes it look a bit more dynamic. Or my particular favourite one is this one because it just looks like someone's taking a Polaroid and thrown it on the desk. But if you do that in a presentation, people are much more likely to look at it and go, what's that about? But it just gives you that extra edge. Or if you just want to make it look like a dodgy picture in an old lady's house, then you can do that, which might appeal to certain audience. Or I don't know. Anyway, you can have all sorts of fun with these things. These are great tools in Word generally if you want to edit photos or pictures or whatever they are. Good. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is charts. So we're all happy with that? Getting text into to Excel.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. Excel. Right. Okay. What I'm going to do now is go back to Excel and do the share screen thing. Screen share thing. Right. Let's go like that. And then like that. Good. You should have just Excel on the screen now. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Good. Okay. I could do this for a living. I'm getting good at this now. What I'm going to do now is take my my table, and turn it into a chart. Put some more figures in there. Okay, so charts are really easy in Excel. I mean, they've always been fairly easy, but they've just they get easier with every revision. They kind of take away a lot of the options and leave them in the background somewhere for you to find rather than ask you from day one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a basic chart based on this data. The most important thing, first of all, is to select everything you want to see. I don't want the totals because that wouldn't really make much sense. But I want the titles, and if I had a big title at the top there telling me what this document was about, I'd select that as well because it's smart enough to kind of know exactly what, well, not know exactly. It's smart enough to guess what it thinks you want from it. And in this case, that's kind of giving it enough information. If I didn't want area 2, I could always manually select area 1 and area 3 later. Or I can just do a selection where I choose the first bunch of boxes, then let go of the mouse, then hold down the control key and select the next one. And again, it will know that I just want area 1 and 3 then because that's what I've selected. But that's not what I'm going to do because that will look really boring. So I'm going to select that lot. And then I'm going to go to the Insert tab because I'm inserting something into my spreadsheet. We have a chart section here. Now, this has changed a little bit. Well, it's changed on a regular basis since the 2010 version. It essentially does the same thing. But 2013, 16 and 19, they've all done little things to make it slightly different. It's kind of got to the stage now that I don't even know if it makes any difference which one you click on. You can just click on recommended charts and you'll get the recommended charts section, which looks like this. But if I say no, I want to make my own choices, I can click on the flyout and I'll get all charts. And it gives me recommended charts. And it's not like I don't do my Windows updates. If I click on insert a chart, oh no, that does give you a shortcut. Anyway, you might as well just click on the big button. That's what they want you to click on. So now I'm going to manually select all charts so I can look at the choices that are available. There's everything in here. You can do classic column charts. You can do line charts. Feeling hungry, you can do a pie chart. You can make them 3D, make them exploded, expanded. Also, even donut charts. Donut charts. Surface charts, stock charts. There's even great things like radar charts. This is the way to hide really bad sales figures. I mean, is that a good month? Who knows? It just looks like a funny bunch of squiggles to me. However, I'm going to go with the classic column chart, and I'm going to make it 3D because that's the way I roll. So I can either do it X by Y or Y by X, or why do I care? But I'm going to choose this one here. So it's got no title, predominantly because I didn't have a title on the spreadsheet. So I've selected that, and if I click on OK, splat, there's my chart. So when I said it was simple, it really is. There's nothing to it. All I did was select the data that I wanted, click on recommended charts, find a chart that I like the look of, and then it just went splat and landed on the screen. Which is good from the point of view that it used to be like a 4-step process of going through and answering questions. But it's also sort of bad because some people don't realise there's questions that could be answered here. However, the first thing, the most important thing, in my opinion, that you should always do when you're creating a chart is move it. There's a button over here that says Move Chart. Now, currently, this chart is slap bang on top of my spreadsheet, which is all kind of funky because you can change the figures and the chart moves while you change them, and that sort of stuff looked really cool when you could do that in the 80s. But now I think everyone kind of knows that the figures are going to change the buttons. We don't need to see it happen at the same time. If you want your chart to be within the same document as your spreadsheet and all the figures, yeah, sure, that's fine, and that does, it does work okay. But like I say, in my opinion, the most important thing for me is to move it out of that spreadsheet and put it onto its own tab. And the reason for that is it's easier to format, it's easier to print, and it's easier to copy and paste into other documents. In my experience, whenever I'm working on charts, I normally don't want to see them in Excel. I mean, I might want to see them maybe, but I normally want to take those charts and put them into PowerPoint presentations or put them into documents in Word or just print them as a chart. What I don't want is something that's awkward and cumbersome every time I'm scrolling through the document and something that's covering up my figures like this one is here, or something that's just really difficult to format nicely if I want to print it. So that's the general point I'm getting across there, is click on the Move Chart button. And when I click on that, it comes up with a dialog box which doesn't have a lot of options. And that is, do I want to leave it exactly where it is? That wouldn't be moving it. That would be leaving it exactly where it is. Or do I want to select the other option, which is move it to a new sheet? And when I click on OK, hey presto, boom, it's on a new sheet. I can still go back to my figures. They're there on sheet 1. But if I go to chart 1, there's my chart. And now I can relax. I've got all this space to work on it. And if I wanted to print it, it would come out as a single thing on the document, on the page. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these features because a lot of them are quite dull, unless there's anything you particularly want to know about. But I shall go through them at a pace and slow down for the useful ones. Add chart element. Now, for example, if I wanted to add a title, I can just click on that title there, which says chart title, and I can put in something much more comprehensive and detailed, like chart, and then not press return at the end of it because that puts carriage returning. There you go. Or I can change it to, if I click just the twice, I can change it to sales or something else. Or if I think, I don't really want that at all, I can just click on that and press the small delete key, the one that's near the number pad, and then it's gone. However, if I suddenly have a massive feeling of remorse and want my title back, I can go to add chart element and I can select things like chart title and I can choose where I want it. And I can have it above it, I can have it above it, centered, and I could go for other options. Elements has got all the different bits in it, things that you might want, like data labels and grid lines and key and all that kind of stuff. Basically all the things that is put on there anyway, but I might decide to delete them and then get them back. Quick layout just gives me a chart that they think I would like, and they were wrong. Yuck. Don't want any of those. Change colours, you'd be shocked to hear. Changes the colours. Yeah, all rubbish. There's a whole bunch of styles here I can choose from the drop down, and some of them look okay. No, they don't actually. Some of them look awful, and some of them look a lot worse. But they give you an idea of what it's capable of. To the right, we have the intelligent things. The last thing, as we know, is my most used button for moving it. We can change the chart type if you suddenly decide you wanted columns going the other way, for example, and that will bring us back to where we started. And you can say, actually, no, I want it to be a pie chart, or I want it to be a donut. Here are the other intelligent things. We can switch the row and column round, so rather than being area by month, it'll be month by area. Don't like the look of that. Or we can go to select data. And this is where, if later on you say, oh, actually, I want to include area 4, you can just add area 4 in by clicking on add, selecting the cells, and then it'll add the data. Or if you say, well, I don't want area 2, you can either just untick it, or you click on it and click remove. It's all pretty self-explanatory, but it really needs more data for it to have an effect. So anyway, that's the important stuff on there. On the Format tab, we've got a whole bunch of just different ways of colouring in, really. All pretty self-explanatory, but if you want more information, just ask. For me personally, if I want to make a chart stand out, and bearing in mind, if you're going to do a chart and you're going to print it, you might as well do it properly. I would do this. First of all, look at the figures. If I double click on those, it'll bring up, that's the plot area. If I click on the figures, it'll bring up the formatting of the axis. And where are my figures? It takes me so long to find these. I'll just click on it again, like I really mean it. Go on. Eventually I'll find the formatting of the figures. There we go. They didn't come up a minute ago. Anyway, so if you click on the last one, axis options, what it should do is list the minimum figure, the maximum figure, and the units it goes up by. The reason this is important is if you're producing 3 charts, one for area A, one for B, and one for C, and you want to present them in comparison to each other, they all need to have the same top figure. It's no good area 1's top figure being 800 and area 2's being 1200, and then you look at 800, you look at the first one and they're all around 800, and then the second one they're all around 1100, and you think, oh, that's not as good as the first one. You need to make a visual, physical comparison. And so if you're making charts that you want to compare, excuse me, it's good to make sure that the automatic number that's put in as the maximum is the same. So, for example, I could change that to 1000, and then suddenly these figures don't look as impressive. Or if I change it back to 800, then they will. Or if I just hit reset. So that's an important thing to consider if you're doing multiple charts. The other thing is the minimum figure. Now, if all of your figures are between 300,000 and 320,000, then why waste 300,000's worth of toner? So rather than starting at 0, you might as well start at 300,000, and then you'll have a bit more of a detailed chart. So that's the grown-up stuff. The rest of it's colouring in, really. So what I like to do is get rid of all of the useful, important things that are there by clicking on them and delete them. And then work on this, making it interesting. So the floor, for example, that white bit at the bottom, how boring is that? If I click on that, I can go over to my format floor and click on the paint can, go to fill, and I'm going to go over texture. And if I click on drop down here, I can select a nice texture like green marble, because that's a nice floor. It gives you that kind of earthy feel. And then these series, I mean, blue, really? Why choose blue when you can have paper bag? And then, I mean,
God.
well, you've got to make your chart stand out. And if you're going to have a chart that stands out, boring old columns, they're not going to get you anywhere. Why use boring columns when you can use things like pyramids or things like cylinders? And if you're going to use a pyramid, well, you know, let's not just go for a texture or picture. Let's go for what have we got? Pattern. How do you make pyramids? Build them out of bricks, and bricks require mortar and bricks. Well, now that probably doesn't come across well at all on the screen, but I can see bricks on mine. I'm going to change the colour of the mortar so it stands out. Does that look like bricks now?
Yeah.
I've got to do yellow because if I did that, all my walls would fall down. There we go. That's better. And the last one in there, we can put something interesting. We can put a gradient. Click on gradient. These gradients are really dull. If we go for a preset gradient, there's normally they're still dull. They used to have really cool things in there like raster and stuff, but they just look like the Caribbean in a chart. So that's how you make your values stand out. The backgrounds, I don't need those lines. They're boring. Just get rid of those boring old grid lines. We can always have them back. Click on them, click delete. Now, back wall, what we could do there, let's go for a picture. And this is always interesting because when I click on the insert picture, I never know what's going to come up. It's not really my computer. I'm going to go save from file. Am I logged in as training? Yes, I am. Good. Here's the official Microsoft pictures. Nice bit of snorkeling. So there we go. That in the background. And that is how you make a chart stand out. You might think, well, I'm not going to use that. However, there is a reason behind all of this. Sometimes different shapes make things more dynamic and make them stand out. Sometimes you want to put pictures in places, like here, for example. If I put in a little picture of a car, it would be like when they do the budget and they show the cost of owning a company car. And this one is now 8.5 cars, and this is 10 cars, or whatever, that kind of thing. And the guy going for a nice swim in the background, that could be the company logo, the corporate logo with a sort of badge in the corner and that sort of stuff. So it doesn't have to be quite as silly as this. But the idea is that you can see how easy it is to click on something and then double click and then make that thing stand out by going in there and saying, I'm going to replace that with a picture of a flower. And here we have a particular sale of flowers. If I wanted to do all of them, which would clearly be a weird thing to do because that is a horrible picture, I could go to picture and then go to insert from file and choose that. Oh, there we go. These are quirky looking ones. This could be sale of Mexican chickens. So that's all I'm going to do in colouring in now. I mean, charts. But now that I've got
Thank God for that, I said.
I was being creative then.
I'm not sure what was coming next, really.
Yeah, it's all going to calm down now. I suddenly realise there's people watching. I've been on my own a long time. the outside world. Oh, how I miss it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that into Word. So if I just copy it, this is going to kill my PC. It takes so much resources to use all that. I'm going to go to Word, and I'm going to do a brand new document. I'm not going to put it into the previous one. So I will start sharing this in a minute, and you'll see what I'm doing. So let's go into Word, go to the sharing toolbar, share content, right, share Word, Bing, and stop sharing Excel. So at the moment, do you have both Word and Excel on the screen at the same time?
No.
All right.
No, only Word a minute.
Oh, that's good. Okay, that might mean that I could do that without, making it complicated. Anyway, so I'll have that conversation with myself later. So now if I just paste in the usual way, it pastes it in. Boom, that's pasted into Word. Alternatively, I could right mouse click and I could choose the second paste option. It's exactly the same. I could choose the last paste option, which would be a picture. No, if I'd left it with default formatting, I could have got it to use the theme that's within Word, but I think I might have changed the format slightly. So ignore the second option for now because we can't be able to see it, but it just pastes it in a different way. But it's the third one we're interested in, paste link. So if I click on that, once again, it's gone in just like I've pasted it just in a normal way. But if I hop back to my Excel document and change those figures in those Area 1 figures for January, if I change that to change it 999, then on Word you can see that's massively increased. And bizarrely enough, the one that wasn't linked has done it as well, which it's not supposed to do, but it's done it. And I know it does do that, and I don't think it always does it. It's just a feature that they'll probably fix or just ignore. But that's how you paste it into Word. And so, like I say, if you're doing something where you want to get a chart into Word or you want to get a chart into PowerPoint, I mean, PowerPoint's got some great charting tools, but they're not as good as Excel. They're just a cut down version. And so the best way to get them in there is just create them in Excel, especially if that's where the figures are, and then paste them into Word or paste them into PowerPoint. And if you want them to be able to be updated easily, just do paste link by doing right mouse click and selecting the one that's got a little picture of a link, a chain style thing. Good. Okay. Well, I think that's it for pasting and stuff and colouring in. Charts. That's probably that's probably enough for today, really. But does anybody have any questions about any of this stuff?
Yeah, can I just, it's not to do with that, it's just doing a basic spreadsheet, and I've got an amount of money coming in each week, and I want to obviously take it off another amount of money on a regular basis. How can I set that up? Does it make sense? What I've said is probably a load of rubbish, but so money's coming in and the value's being reduced, and I want that to happen. Yeah.
I'm on it. Have you got Excel on the screen at the moment?
Yeah.
And is Word just gone away now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Right. Every day's a school day. So I'm learning stuff as well. Okay, let's do that from scratch. I don't need this one anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this because I'm so proud of my creation. Am I? Yeah. What's today? Thursday 16th. It's 16th today. Yeah, I saw it at the bottom of the screen. Oh man, over a month in lockdown. A month to go.
It shows.
I've left the house a few times. I went for a lengthy walk yesterday up and down my drive. It was great. So, okay. Yes. I'm going to create a spreadsheet. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it bad debt. Let's suppose it's a bad debt.
Yeah.
Those are horrible things that tend to creep up on spreadsheets. And let's say this dreadful individual has run up a debt of £1,000, but they are paying it off. So let's say payments, and we'll have a balance column, and then let's justify those. Now, is that the kind of thing that you're thinking of?
Yeah. Just don't keep doing it manually each time. Just basically.
They made a payment of £50, and so what I'm going to do here is say equals that minus that. Now that was the first one, which is completely. I probably should have done it better. Actually, ignore that. I can't live with it doing it that way. I'm going to have that written there. There's the balance. So right, they've paid £50, and I'm going to say equals the figure above minus the payment they've made, and then when I hit return, there's the balance. Now, fortunately, they've come up with a decent figure now, and then a couple of days later, a little bit more, and then some more. And then all I need to do is autofill that down, and then as they pay more off, the balance will adjust, and it is just the same calculation every time. The one above minus.
So the one above, left. Just click on that and just get the formula. Yeah. Okay.
So and then you can put the date that they paid or the method of payment or something. But pretty straightforward spreadsheet.
Oh, okay. So,
if this is the answer to all your questions, then either write it down or even take a photo of it. You could do that. That works quite well, and then you've got it recorded.
Yeah. Okay. No, I get that. It's quite simple. I thought it'd be more.
Yeah, I know. You're welcome to come up with a complicated one if you like.
So, no, oh my God, yeah. No.
I could put an if statement around it and make it look pretty.
That's it. Yeah.
But sometimes it's the easiest answer is the best one. But it's a good question.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Anyone's got any Excel stuff while I'm here? That'd be a no.
I did have some questions yesterday, but I had no webcam and I had no microphone because I was on the works computer, so it was a bit awkward. I kept asking things and you weren't answering.
Yeah, that would be the problem. Yeah.
You'll have to learn how to lip read.
Yeah, I do basic sign language, but do you know what the questions were?
No, I can't now. Oh God.
I'll come back to you in about 10 minutes. But,
probably.
Right. Good. Okie doke. Well, if anyone can think of anything else in Excel that they'd like to see, or that they have any questions about, or Word, or Outlook, or any of the things, or any scuba diving relating questions, I can do those as well. Do a little bit of Spanish, but other than that, the knowledge level is pretty limited. Okay, good. So tomorrow, if you would care to join me, we are going to cover conditional formatting in depth, because there are some really good things in conditional formatting that we've not even looked at today. I'm also going to do some functions, some really good functions, and these are ones that I very briefly touched on yesterday with the VLOOKUP. I'm going to cover basically the if function, the conditional statement. Now, the reason that this is so important is because it can do so much, and so something like pretty much anything that you want to ask the system. You can put an if statement in there that will ask the question and give you the answer. And so, I mean, I could have an if statement here that looks at the balance and then looks at the date and then comes up with something like they're not paying quick enough. Or, it could say this much is outstanding and therefore this much should be paid over I should expect this payment next, that kind of thing. I could do an if statement that does really complicated stuff. or I could just make it say yes or no. You know, I could do whatever I like. And so the if function is really good, and that's what we're going to cover tomorrow. It can be considered to be quite complicated, but you can use it in simple ways. But also we'll cover some nice straightforward stuff as well. We'll do conditional formatting, and we might even throw in a spark line or two. Spark lines are brilliant, possibly one of the finest features ever added to Excel, and really easy. So that's me building up the suspense for tomorrow. I can't think of anything else now. But yeah, if you've got any requests though, it doesn't matter whether it's formatting pictures in Word or sending blind carbon copies in Outlook, or just knowing how to open a closed window in Chrome if you're using it to surf the net and you close a window by accident. Anything like this, either just send me an email when you think of it, or just ask.